Hello, Tracy.
Hello.
Wonderful story. What I want to know about you is with all of the journeys and experiences you had, coverage, the all of your experience, have you already satisfied with with all you did up until now, or is there something that you haven't tried or want to dig more, a mystery box that you have not discovered yet?
That's an interesting question. You know, the key is never to stop. I don't think it ever ends. Life, as soon as I'd land somewhere, honestly, my reaction was to take off again as soon as possible. I never wanted to finish. You know, and after some of the days, you know, for example, flying the Sahara Desert. To fly the desert is to me the ultimate. This elemental environment where you're almost like it's flying into oblivion. There's no real horizon. It's just radiant with light. This golden desert. I was down at 200 feet flying this, and I thought, this is almost transcendental. This, for me, is as close as it gets to heaven on earth. And then you're right. So no, I never want to stop. Honestly, I wish I could go. And the next flight, I'd like to fly Cape Horn to Alaska. So no, keep going.
Wow, Alaska. I got another question, Alan.
Yeah. What's the trigger of your curiosity? It's like you just don't want to stop, even up until now.
You know, life should be about passion and about great projects. And I feel like I was lucky that I somehow found aviation early on, but it was almost like somebody had put a pearl in my hand. And even though it took a long time, you know, to build up these skills, but I just never stopped. And I think it's the power of incremental progress, you know, so even day by day, I just nerved myself onto the next thing. And, if I could just go solo, if I could just fly a few aerobatics, if I could just get a commercial license. I never envisaged for 1 second that it would lead to this. But in fact, it took me 30 years to get to the point where I could, all those elements in my life, whether it was my marketing experience, my sales, where I could, go out and door knock, build the sponsorship, build the network behind it, go and do the public speaking, get into schools, quite apart from the flying, you know, so it took me my whole life to get to the point where I could actually do all that in a way. And it was really funny because as we were flying through Jordan, I met a bunch of 14-year-old girls. They brought them down to the airport in Amman. And one of these girls, you know, they're all there in their hijabs and they look like little nuns. But one of the girls said to me, she said, so how old are you? And I said, I was 53 at that point. I said, yeah, I'm 53. And she looked at me and she was horrified. She said, 53? She said, but you're so old. You should be at home resting. I said, well, yes, I probably should be. I said, but you know what? I learned to fly. I had my first experience of flight when I was just a bit older than you. And I said, and there's nothing to stop you flying until you're 80. You know, I'm sitting there in my cockpit, so long as I have a medical and I can see, you know, and basic motor skills. I said, this is a joy for life. You know, and I think that was one of the things that was so surprising to them, because they had this view again in Jordan. These women they're wonderfully well educated. They often have multiple degrees. As soon as they get married, guess what? They disappear from society. You know, they have their children and they cease to sort of exist in a public way. And this is one of the issues that I mean, you know, women have to be used. They have to understand the opportunity. And people said to me there, if you want the women, you've got to talk to their fathers, their husbands, and their brothers. You know, that's what keeps women down in these societies. It's these structures of oppression, really. Sorry, I didn't mean this to become this polemic. You know, it's not a polemic. This is about passion and opportunity. And I just, you know, it's not just aviation, is it? You just hope that women feel empowered and impassioned to go and do these things, you know, and take a few risks and to realize themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really important to not only women in Indonesia, but all of the people in Indonesia to know that we have a freedom like that. We have to encourage the curiosity and yeah.